Alright. Let's go ahead and check on that. Alrighty. I think we're good here. Alright, what is cracking, y'all? How the F is everybody? Lots to talk about today. Lots. So, let's talk about the playthrough first, and then we'll do a little bit more. So, we are on a new farm in Tae County, and I gotta say, I've really been enjoying the heck out of this map, but I was close the fucking door. There we go, you silly goofs. My goodness. Alright, so, we are on a totally new farm, and we are up by town, as you guys can see. And so, this is going to be interesting. I don't know about you guys. I have not played with the productions much. But I did see another another YouTuber with an idea, and so it inspired me, to say the least, and so that is what we are going to be doing today. But as many of you guys know, I pride myself on being completely different. So with this, and no, it's probably not the right thing to give it away right away, but you know what? I don't care. But with this series in particular, this is not going to have a thing to do with TJ's or my farm. This is one that I have been thinking of for quite a while, and I'm interested to see what the heck we can do with it. So we may combine two different series here today. Now, obviously, it's going to take some time, but this should be fun because there is quite a bit as far as ideas that we can do with this little farm here. And man, is it nice. Very nice setup. I actually like the look of this farm. So yippee. So with that, we will go through some equipment here, and then we shall hop into it. Did I just close that garage door? I did. You piece of garbage, dude. It's ridiculous. Why'd you opening? Open. Alright, there we go. So we have got the Stormtrooper F-350, Forces, Ranch Hand, color match, you know the drill. So that is the main dig. And then of course, this one is from the original idea that we had when we started with TJ series, and that is the single cab all done up, aka Snow White F-250, Forces, color match. I may change the chrome. I haven't really decided yet. I kind of want to. But yeah, so we are going to hop in this one today. And I don't know about you guys, but man, the Stormtrooper look is one of my favorite sport trucks. Let me know about you guys. Well, depending, what we might do is we might clean out a little bit of these shrubs and trees here and do a little bit of a trailer parking as well. We do have a S660 John Deere combine, and that's going to be put up here in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I want to do some fencing. I want to do a ton of different things regarding this farm. But the main thing is that I would like to get to work on is up here we have a cultivated field, and obviously we need to get rid of this soybean field because I want to try and get all the way up to the house and see what we can do here, because with this I want to build an apple orchard, and this is going to be interesting, mainly because we have quite a bit of land. But on top of that, I want to be able to my buddy's Phoenix and his Wilson trailer up here. So we'll leave that right there. But what I want to do is we're going to have to add some money in. But I want to get rid of this field and all the way up to the yard is I would like to build a massive apple orchard and see what we can come up with. Like I said, I haven't really messed with the productions all that much, and I figured, you know what, let's try it. So I reckon what I would like to do is we're going to have a hard time with the train tracks here, but so this is about 17 acres. Sheesh. I'm kind of wondering, should we get ahead and take care of these soybeans while we're at it? I don't know. I think, let me see what we got here. Let me see. Oh, we do have them in here. Okay. Awesome. I don't want to go too big on that. Oh, we don't really have much that's different, huh? Alright. Well, I guess let's go with the 630 then. And that up. Don't need that. I'm fine. Don't need that. Really? Alrighty then. There we go. Oh, whoops. There we go. Alrighty then, let's redo this all over again. Let's go ahead, let's take a chance here. And this should be interesting, nonetheless. Because I'm genuinely curious, to say the least. When am I allowed to criticize Troy Weaver? Just, you know, asking for a friend. Because, man, oh man, does this seem as if this is not getting better anytime soon? You have the Pistons losing their 9th straight. Now again, as I have said before, I am not an NBA guy. I hate the fact of load management. You know, that whole entire deal. The point is that in any sports league, it is still very, very, very difficult to lose 9 straight. The lineup makes no sense. You have the highest paid coach in the sport, and at some point or another, it is time to admit that it is okay then. It is time to admit that Troy Weaver has not done a good job. Okay then, no, that's not it. What about these? Oh, that's why they're withered, okay. Alright, never mind then. The point is that obviously at some point it is time to admit that Troy Weaver has not done his job. Now, I get it. It's the NBA. But it is still very, very, very hard to lose 9 straight. And what I guess I want to understand is this idea that, well, you know, Troy has done his job, which he hasn't. The lineup makes no sense. You collect big men like they're Fabergé eggs. The whole deal. And at some point, when you have lost that credibility, it's time to call it what it is. And what I can't understand at all, quite frankly, is this idea that it is fine enough to go ahead and just say that it's okay in any sport to lose 9 games. It is a unwatchable product. It is despicable on all levels. So if you want to hop into that, we can hop into that. We'll hop into baseball here in a moment. I do want to talk about this idea of this strange deal of this Joe Burrow story. So this comes by way of Adam Schefter. The NFL is investigating why the Bengals did not have quarterback Joe Burrow on their injury report when the team posted a picture of him wearing a device on his wrist Wednesday night, and he appeared to be hampered by the injury early in the Thursday night game that he later left. The league confirmed today the initial picture of Joe Burrow wearing a device that looked like a soft cast on his thumb was posted by the Bengals, only to be deleted later. The NFL routinely looks into matters of compliance with the injury report policy and will do so in this instance as well. Teams can be fined or even potentially lose a draft pick. So what I think is interesting about this is that primarily this is interesting based on where everything is headed. Quite frankly, let's just go ahead and call it what it is. And what it is that there is a huge problem with this, because you can see within the video that was posted is that this does not look good in any instance. And it brings up the question of where does this go regarding betting wise. And look, I will tell you, if you are going to be on the betting side of things, then what you have to understand is that you are going to have to be careful, and you're going to have to do a lot, and I mean a lot of reading when it does come to this deal of betting, of all these certain things when it comes to these games. Now, again, I know that there is a big conversation, should Thursday night football even exist? And what I would tell you is that if you're going to be looking into that conversation, you have to understand where the league is regarding this deal of it is a cutthroat business. The NFL makes money hand over fist, as we all know. And they make plenty, and I mean plenty, of money in a lot of different ways. My thing being is man, does it certainly seem interesting regarding the compensation price of losing a draft pick, losing a deal of a fine. The thing is that obviously when you think about an organization like the Bengals, this is obviously, you obviously think of postseason, those type of things. The fact of the matter is, though, is that yes, this is a serious situation, whether you want to believe it or not. And the fact of the matter is that with said deal, this is, I look at it a lot like college. It is the best way that I can explain it. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of the times you don't hear guys talk about the injury report. Now, I certainly hope the NFL does not go that way, specifically because of, they want to give you this illusion to a sense of that they care about the player's safety. Well, let's be careful with that. The entire thing for me is that depending on, there has to be validity to it. There has to be some teeth to it. Now, obviously, if you're going to see things in a video, obviously, it's going to be this deal of, okay, what can come from that that can show credible evidence that Joe Burrow should have been on the injury report. Obviously, wearing the device on his wrist, and then obviously the video that is out there currently does show credible proof. Now, as far as it goes, I don't know what the punishment should be. I don't quite want to go down that road just yet. But what I will say is that if I'm the Bengals and I've known about this, then things can get much more serious. The other thing is that very, very simply, if this does come down to it, I gotta be honest with you. If it's this idea that we're going to have this go on, then it might be time to look into the writing of the rule, to be quite honest with you. So that's my take on it. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you, well, if we're going to talk about the betting side of things. Look, the fact of the matter is that obviously with the betting, from what I can tell you from doing it myself, look, there is a lot of reading that goes into it. There is a lot of watching during the week that has to happen in order to really worry about who's on the injury report, who's not. And what I will say is that betting is not like fantasy whatsoever. So let's be careful there. Alright, so with that said, we've got Pistons in the mix. We've got Joe Burrow in the mix. Let's hop into the picks. We'll get that on the other side. And then we have plenty of other things to get to today here on a college football Saturday. We'll catch you guys in just a moment. Let's go ahead. Let's grab a save real quick. We'll catch you guys on the other side for the picks. Okay, we're back. It's that time. So let's keep tilling up this ground here, and let's get after it. It is time. We are going to start out with college. Texas, -7, taking on Iowa State. TJ and I are in lockstep here. Texas, easy. Oregon State, -2.5, taking on Washington. TJ and I are on different sides here. With that said, give me Washington. TJ is going to take Oregon State. Now look, this one hurts my heart because of my Beavers. Oklahoma State, -6.5, taking on Houston. Excuse me. TJ and I are in lockstep here. Oregon State. Or Oklahoma State. My goodness, I cannot talk today. Oklahoma State for both TJ and I in this one. Clemson, -6.5, taking on North Carolina. I have not watched much of Drake May this year, so this is going to be my shot of the week here. Give me UNC. TJ will take Clemson. USC, -6.5, taking on UCLA. TJ is going to take UCLA, and I am going to take USC. Utah, -1.5, taking on Arizona. TJ and I are in lockstep. He's learning, people. Arizona. The rattiest game of the week. Purdue, -3, taking on Northwestern. With that said, I am going to take Northwestern. TJ is going to take Purdue. Tulane, -9, taking on FAU. TJ and I are in lockstep here. It is Tulane, -9. Let's head this Sunday in the National Football League. We start out with Monday Night Football, the Super Bowl rematch. You know the drill. Kansas City, -2.5, taking on Philadelphia. This is going to be an interesting one. And no, I don't mean because of Taylor Swift. What I mean is that Jalen Hurts' knee. Jalen Hurts has stayed in the pocket a lot this year. Something ain't right. Give me Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs here. TJ is going to take Philly. We go to a divisional game. Can Josh Dobbs make it 3 in a row? I love what Dan Campbell said this week. We are under the impression that they will win out. With that said, give me Minnesota. TJ is going to take Denver. Seattle, -1, taking on the Rams. TJ and I are in lockstep here. This is going to be a bounce back week. Seattle. Bills, -7, taking on the Jets. And this one is a rat. And, man, a lot of turmoil going on over there in Buffalo. Josh Allen being protected class. Stephon Diggs, his brother, talking some ish. I'm going to take a shot here in the NFL. Give me the Jets. TJ will take the Bills. Lions, -8.5, taking on Chicago. TJ and I are in lockstep here. Lions start the second half strong. Those are your selections for week 11. Alrighty. So, let's go ahead. Let's stay with football as we've got 2 stories to talk about here. So this comes by way of Andy Staples, and assistant coach, linebackers coach, Chris Partridge, has been relieved of his duties. Rick Minter, the father of Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator, will serve as the team's linebackers coach. There's quite a bit to get into there, which we will talk about here soon. And then there's this one. And at first, I kind of just laughed this off, and I think a lot of people did, specifically because of, well, how silly it sounds. Carissa Thompson just revealed that she makes up sideline reports during NFL games when coaches don't want to talk or when it's too late for the broadcast. Whoa, buddy. Now, the sideline interview, I'm not a big fan of. I know there's a lot of people who aren't. This is kind of a goofy story. And I just don't get it. I mean, I don't hate the hustle, if I'm being quite honest with you. But I gotta be honest with you. Like I said, at first when I saw this, I just kind of laughed it off. So, the Carissa Thompson story. the Joe Burrow story, the Pistons, the picks are all in the mix. If you want to hop in, go right ahead. Let's get after it. With that said, we are going to get to this report. And this goes back to the Chris Partridge being relieved of his duties. It is reported that Chris Partridge tried to destroy or cover up computer evidence. Oh boy. Uncle T, named in the report, is the financial backer for Connor Stallions. The NCAA presented the University of Michigan with new evidence this week, including that a Michigan booster has partially funded Connor Stallions' advanced scouting operation, as an assistant coach allegedly participated in destruction of evidence on a computer after this scandal broke, sources tell Yahoo Sports. Both the school and Harbaugh dropped an attempt to secure a temporary restraining order against the 3-game Big Ten suspension. Now, again, that's a laugher in itself. Right here. The report states that Uncle T helped fund Stallion scheme by paying out thousands of dollars for expenses. So look, this story continues to snowball, continues to get weirder and weirder as this continues. I'm not to me, if I'm a Michigan fan, here's where I'm at, which, again, I've said multiple times. I am a Michigan fan, and I've been on you since the spring. I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think it's going to matter if Harbaugh's on the sideline or not. Now, again, the suspension is a joke because Harbaugh can be on the sidelines during practice. The fact of the matter is, though, is that very, very simply, this is one that I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters because of how high level your assistants are. Rick Minter has quite the resume as a linebackers coach, as a defensive coordinator. So the defense, I'm not really worried about. Sharon Moore. If I'm a Michigan fan, I am looking at this of, all right, it's back to business. Now look, I will tell you, yes, Maryland is a trap game. Yes, Maryland is not that good. However, it does not change the fact that this is the trap game before Ohio State. As far as it goes, this just really doesn't bother me. Okay, the dude was in bed with stallions. We get it. Cool. Let's freaking get after it. Like, we got to get back to football here. Our biggest game of the year is coming up, so you know what? We need to get back to football. Now, again, thank God we can get back to football. But the entire point is that, look, I am going to look at this from the perspective of you got to handle business. You as the team handle your business. You handle your business. To me, it's pretty simple. It's going to be the road to the natty. And that's really where I'm at here. Now, again, the NCAA can step in and say this or that, but for me, look, this isn't about right or wrong from a fan perspective. For me, it's simple. I'm taking my own perspective of what I have said throughout this entire deal into the same take that I gave at my job. It is, we need to get back to football, and it is survive and advance. It is handle business on both sides of the ball, all three phases. Go out there, win. I don't care if it's by 1 or 100. You go out there, you win, you handle your business, and let's go get a freaking natty at this point. The fact of the matter is that this has gone on way too long. I mean, it's became a circus. Let's just be honest here. It's became a circus by both parties, the Big Ten and Michigan. And look, as far as it goes, it seems like the team's handled the outside noise well. And look, without having Chris Partridge, yeah, I think you upgraded at linebackers coach. Look, the linebackers were good, but the resume of Rick Minter, it speaks for itself. So my thing being is that, okay, what comes out of it now? It's back to football. It's back to business. We're going to have this team in a box. We're going to sleep at the university, and we're going to come out with our hair on fire against Ohio State and Maryland. And then when it comes time to, we're going to regroup. And we are going to specifically worry about the first round. Who's going to be the opponent then? And that's really where I'm at with it. Look, now that we can get back to actually talking about the games, obviously, you're playing Maryland today in a matter of about 9-10 minutes. Very simple. Very, very simple. It is going to be this deal of, okay, what comes out of it from here? Do we get the natty? Throw up the double birds and say, we did it? Or does more come out? As far as the mower, I don't know. I don't know what comes out. I'm not a part of the investigation. I'm not a part of the Big Ten, the NCAA, etc. But from a fan perspective, it's, all right, clown show's over. Let's get back to football, and let's focus on this game. Survive and advance by 1 or 100. Doesn't matter. It is survive and advance. We get to next week. It's rivalry week. We get to Ohio State. And then it's the biggest game of the year. And I'll tell you the same thing next week. Survive and advance. You survive and advance, and then you worry about the playoff. You worry about the Big Ten championship. And that's where I'm at from there. Alright, so I have a Lions question for you. As we talk about a few things here. So 1 year ago yesterday would have been Houston's coming out party. And by Houston's, I mean James Houston. And so what I want to know is, who is it going to be this year? Because I read these comments from Aaron Glenn, and I laugh my off. Because of, I mean, come on. But the point is that who is it going to be? And it can be on either side of the ball. It can even be on special teams. And for me, I have two people. And one, I'm not necessarily too keen on, specifically because of the comments earlier this week, which we'll get into. And then there's one that has truly impressed me throughout the season. And that is Derek Barnes. To me, that is option one. Secondly, is going to be Bruce Irvin. The Lions signed him earlier this week to get some pass rush help. And I like the idea of that because, again, I've continued to say, not said, I cannot talk today. The point is that I have continued to hammer home the point. Hutchinson cannot do this by himself. By the way, Aiden, enough talk. Start walking. Falls for the banana in the tailpipe yet again. What are we doing here, bud? Like, I get you went to Michigan. I get that you're the star of the show. I get all of it. But I don't need you talking. I need you to show up this week. 2 sacks, interception, etc. I need you to be a monster on the field. But the point is that I have Bruce Irvin and Derek Barnes. I want to know who your guys' is. And then, let's get to this. I have a number for you that is interesting. And this one I've truly had to think about quite a bit. I've truly had to think about for quite some time. And what I mean by that is the rest of the way, over under Lions losses set at 1.5. And it's the same thing here with the Lions. Survive and advance. I don't care if it's by 1 or 100. It is very, very simple. One or 100. Easy stuff. Okay. So let's get down to here. And then well, actually, I think what we can do now, actually, let me start out with where we're at right now. And see from there. So this field that's cultivated, I'm not going to worry about quite yet. Because like I said, I want to do this series a little bit differently. But what I do want to do is, let's start with, let's go ahead, let's hop out. Let's go ahead, get a save, a save. We'll catch you guys on the other side. Okay then, apparently we don't need to save. Alright, so let's try and hop into this. And what I want to do is we're going to try this a little bit differently from here. Alright then, somebody's pissed. Oops. Alright, so with this field, like I said, I'm going to try and paint this one, and then I'll tell you guys what we're going to do for the other field and try it just to see, because I would like to see which one can be a little bit more beneficial here. And yes, I know this is a lot of work that I didn't really need to do, but I would rather do it anyway. And then we can kind of figure out the rest from there. And look, there's going to be a lot of times to where it is like this, to where there is unnecessary work that is going to get done. But you know what? F it. So what I think we can do is because what I would like is for it to start here and then go out towards the bigger field. But yeah, I think this should be a really fun series. It really should. And I don't say that just to say it either. I say it because a lot of times I tend to overthink certain things. So, yeah. Alright, so... Oh, whoops. That's not my one. Okay. So you guys get the point of we are going to try and paint this field away. This one, however, we are going to use the what do you call it? The easy dev controls. And well, we might not. We might actually fertilize and actually plant this field with grass, and then work our way out from there. This thing is going to be massive. Sheesh. Alright, so this is going to be, it's going to be interesting. It really is. It is going to take some time. But no, yeah, I do think with this series, I think I'm gonna try to combine two different series with this and see how it's all gonna mesh. Because I'll be honest with you, there are some series I feel like we just kind of threw it in there, and it wasn't really this. It was just like just thrown together, to where this one is a little bit different. Like, I actually have like an actual like game plan for it. So yeah. And then depending what I may do, to be quite honest with you guys, is I may take out a loan, snag that cornfield right there and that one, and that way we can still have the aspect of farming, but that'll be a good way to make our money while we're still trying to get this all set up and you know, to the point of where we want to make it. So but I do want to add, like this one, I want to add in a lot of detail, fences, trees, bushes, a lot of certain stuff as well, and then kind of just go from there on it, and just really just work our way up. So but I do think, though, if we can snag one of those cornfields, that would be kind of nice, because then we can harvest that, make some money, and then we can really start to work on building this thing and building it the right way. Which again, I'll be quite honest with you, it's going to take a couple episodes. Alright, so we talked about that. Dan Campbell had a interesting quote. No, not the Texas A&M one. But what I thought was interesting is he had an interview with Jeremy Fowler from ESPN and talked about this deal of why would we ever let Jared Goff go? And what I think was interesting about that was that very, very simply, it was interesting enough that with what was said was they were talking about a contract extension. And I know there's quite a few people who don't want Jared Goff to get an extension. But the fact of the matter is that the way he's playing is what's getting us home, and what may get us home in the playoffs. And so that's where I look at it and say, yeah, the head coach is right. And the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of people who have love for Dan Campbell, and Lions fans should. Um, but the fact of the matter is that what I thought was interesting, he also mentioned rhythm. And I think that's a very important word when you're talking about a head coach and quarterback duo. You see the rhythm with Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City. You see the rhythm with Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. And then on Tuesday, Jared Goff talked about his rhythm with not only Dan Campbell, but talked about his rhythm with Ben Johnson and how important that is for when, quote, they win games. And what I thought was interesting was, look, I think it's inevitable. I do think we are going to lose Ben Johnson in the offseason. So, what comes out of that is that the rhythm is going to have to be important for the next offensive coordinator, who I would assume is in-house. Okay. So, let's get this out of the way. We are going to go ahead. We are going to hop out. Let's get it saved. We'll catch you guys on the other side. Okay, so now that we're back, let's get into this. Lions defense coordinator Aaron Glenn talked. Quote, listen, we know who we are. Man, last year we were last ranked defense. I think we're a top 10 ranked defense this year, he said. That's a really, really huge improvement so far as knowing who we are. We know that we have the capabilities to go out there and play really, really good ball. Close quote. Alright, full stop. For me, I like the fact that he's looking at the bigger picture. I really do. But however, I don't agree. I don't agree with this statement, specifically because of the fact of that. Your pass rush has got to get better. And again, I will continue to say it. The reason why many people were upset at the trade deadline was because of the fact of that you did not make the defense better, the pass rush better. Now again, I get it. A couple days later, you go ahead, or a week later, you go ahead, you sign Bruce Irvin, and whoop-de-doo, everybody's happy. But guys, you saw it in the Chargers game. There were 0 sacks allowed by either team. The fact of the matter is, that's a credit to our offensive line. Now, I'm still under the impression, yeah, we're going to have some tough decisions to make regarding the offensive line, and we are going to have to talk about drafting some more offensive line. But with that said, it does come down to the fact of that we do have to get home. What is the number one thing that tends to hurt the Lions? A mobile QB. You're going to face a mobile QB this weekend when you play certain teams like the Vikings, when you play the Saints, and there are certain things where you're going to have to be careful. But the fact of the matter is that you can say, although I love his comment, this is so good, this, that, the other. You can say all that. It's a free country. However, it does not change the fact whatsoever that your pass rush cannot get home. Your pass rush has got to get home. Bugs is out with an injury, or with an illness, excuse me. And Dan Campbell said he doesn't know how long Bugs is going to be out. So, the fact of the matter is, I'm hoping that this is null and void this weekend, and the pass rush gets home, gets to Justin Fields, and we get out of Ford Field with a win, and we're all good, right? But if it is anything like last week, then I think a lot of people are going to have on that code red, if you will. And the fact of the matter is that with that, it's going to be tough, obviously, because of Justin is a mobile QB. But the fact of the matter is that you gotta get home. And a certain host brought this up, and I thought it was adorable. Like, I really did. Because I have one problem with this. So, you have